Coram has been working his dead-end job for way too long. The constant jundy grind of burying the dead, body after body after body. And what's more, the next day he shows up to find out that a bunch of scavengers have been goifing around with his work, digging up and devouring the very corpses he tirelessly toiled the soil for. And when he takes these issues to management, what do? Absolutely nothing, of course. So Coram has had enough. Azorius trickle-down mana theory just hasn't quite worked out for him. So the only thing that's trickled down is more corpses for him to bury, with no promotion and no raise. So it's time for Coram to unionize with his fellow Jund creatures and take it to the picket line with his trusty shovel, because the corpos can shove it until they give in to his demands. Time to dig into the root of the problem. Brave or grave, keep calm and carry on.
Dorks.
I just love picturing him with a shovel that has like a picket sign on it. It's like, I mean, it's a sign for now, but it could be a weapon if you...
We'll talk about the commander, Coram the Undertaker. So he is 4 mana, he's 1 generic and Jund colors, black, red, green. He is a human warrior, so his power is 0, toughness is 5, but he says, Coram the Undertaker gets +X+0, where X is the greatest power among creature cards in all graveyards. He also has a triggered ability that says whenever Coram attacks, each player mills a card. And also says during each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a spell from among cards in graveyards that were put there from libraries this turn. So yeah, very much a Voltron graveyard strategy. A little bit of theft here or there, but yeah. So the intended bracket of this is 3. Trying to aim for that power level. I have 1 game changer in Gamble, which is just the 1 red to tutor a card to hand, and then you discard a card at random. So, and sometimes we want to be discarding that card.
The one game changer that would have been appropriate in my casino style.
The gamble. The gambler.
Yeah. But I didn't run it in mine. So
maybe someday.
Something to consider.
But so yeah, that's that. So piloting, what are we doing? What's the path to victory? So, well, it's pretty simple. It's a typical Voltron strat that depends on getting high-powered creatures into our bin. As such, we run a lot of creatures with really high power that we're not necessarily hoping to get into play, but we want to just get those straight into the graveyard for the purpose of drastically pumping up Coram's power. And we do pack a lot of creatures that have power and toughness as asterisks, meaning those values are dependent on certain other conditions, but those asterisks have the same values in different zones, so they're going to still have that power toughness in the graveyard. But this is different with the likes of Death's Shadow, which has base power toughness 13-13. When it's in play, it gets -X, where X is your life total, but that doesn't apply while it's sitting in the graveyard, so 13-13. So alongside the Voltron package, we've got some protection pieces, evasion, and several ways of discarding cards to get those high-powered creatures into the bin. And a plethora of reanimation effects, too. So,
as you would expect in any good graveyard deck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the point of the shovel if you're not going to dig with it?
All right. Way down.
Deeper and deeper.
Different deck. Yeah. The game plan here is the true meat and potatoes. What goes great on potatoes? Gravy yard. So we're trying to fill the graveyard with gravy. How much more can I go with this stupid joke? All right.
I'm gonna need a gravy boat. It's getting pretty deep in here.
All right, so 3 pieces that do a lot of the same thing are Entomb, Buried Alive, and Unmarked Grave. So these, I'll just read them all out. So Entomb is just 1 black instant. Search your library for a card, put that card in your graveyard, then shuffle. Buried Alive is 2 and a black sorcery. Search your library for up to 3 creature cards, and then put them into your graveyard and then shuffle. Finally, Unmarked Grave is 1 generic and a black sorcery. Search your library for a non-legendary card, put that card into your graveyard, and then shuffle. So graveyard tutor effects. But yeah, just really going for most times the highest powered creature in the to put in the graveyard right away, And doing that at instant speed in the case of Entomb provides some potential sneaky combat trickery. That they might be not blocking a 0 power that's suddenly 18 if I throw Yargle and Multani in the graveyard. So yeah, so you got to be careful about when you want to block Coram. Another one is Stitcher Supplier, just a 1-drop that when it enters or dies, it's going to mill 3 to get things in the bin. We have another one, Ripples of Undeath, I think the one I gave you.
It's an enchantment for 1 and a black. It says at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, mill 3 cards. Then you may pay 1 and 3 life. If you do, put a card from among those cards into your hand.
Yes, so really good early game, not only filling the bin, but also provides card advantage to get one of those things to hand.
And just having the option that when you mill something that you can get something back from that if you need to. That's nice. That's really nice.
Yep. So very, very good. And I love that it's after you've already drawn for turn. It's in your pre-combat main.
You're not screwed over by any scries that happen ahead of time or whatnot.
Exactly. Yep. So it just depending on what you draw, maybe there is something else that went in that you want to get. So Hermit Druid. So this isn't it can be a combo piece in decks, but in this case it's not for combo's sake. It's just getting a lot of things in the graveyard. We just want to fill that thing up.
It's good at that.
So yep, we do have a handful of basic lands, so that we're not going to completely deck ourselves. And then we also have Necrogoyf. I think another one I gave you.
Necrogoyf, yes. Yep. Necrogoyf is a Lurgoyf creature for 3 and 2 black, power *4. So Necrogoyf's power is equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card. It's also got a Madness ability, so if you discard this card and discard it into exile, when you do, cast it for its Madness cost, or put it into your graveyard. So, yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah, the fact that it's has a good chance of having pretty high power over time. Also, the disruption aspect, where for me, I'm okay putting things in graveyard, especially if they're creatures. But for the opponents, they're probably not wanting as much to have to discard. And then I do have other things that discard, so the Madness could come into play to get them out for cheap. So yeah,
that's great.
And he's a Lurgoyf. There's a Lurgoyf sub theme to this deck. So
and that star, the star power. If your opponents have some things in the yard, that can be quite a big number. Considering that's all that Coram really cares about is the creature in the yard's power, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Fantastic.
So that's our gravy, the gravy bin. But now we've got the Voltron pieces. So the things that are really going to jack Coram's power up there. So that's going to be things like Death's Shadow, 13/13 I mentioned earlier. Another one, Kedis, Emberclaw Familiar. This is a really good, it's a generic and a red elemental lizard. It's
Lizard.
1/1. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. So that damage is not commander damage, but when he's swinging for 18, yeah, I'm gonna want to take the sending 18 to everybody, equally.
That's
but
really good.
So really good way to just speed up the strat there. So the Voltron, normally you got to focus on one player at a time, but this way it makes that go a little faster. Spectacular Showdown, great way to give him double strike, but also if overloaded, it can keep me safe for a turn and turn my opponents against each other with their creatures. So Polygoyf is just like another Tarmogoyf.
It has lots of couple and partners. It's very forward thinking of the Goyfs.
Yeah, they don't care. They'll devour anything in the graveyard. But yeah, it's Lurgoyf with Myriad, pretty much. Pretty good. Mordivore is a really popular Lurgoyf. Sometimes I forget that he is a Lurgoyf, but he is. But yeah, his power toughness is equal to all creature cards in all graveyard. And he's got that regenerate ability on him too, but he's really great in the bin too. Yargle and Multani is what I gave you. But
really expansive text box here, except it's all flavor text. So Yargle Multani is an 18/6 Frog Spirit Elemental for 3 black green.
Well, you gave me a card last gameplay
no
text. Yeah,
very
so I thought I'd return the favor. But yeah, just really there for that 18 power, just
huge.
crazy.
So good.
So
run that in Mimeoplasm for the same reason, because that
Yes,
huge
and this
power.
is a very similar concept to
Yeah,
that in a lot of
absolutely.
ways. But
Cool.
yeah, another one that I gave you for you to read, Lord of Extinction.
Oh yes,
A
Lord of
really good
Extinction
one.
is an elemental, power and toughness star. For 3 black-green, Lord of Extinction's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in all graveyards. So not even creatures, it's just all cards. That's how big he is.
Yes,
That
so
gets out of hand.
in the mid to late game, if they're, if everyone's been milling, or if I happen to get a, Hermit Druid activation, that thing, I mean, that's going to make Corum's power 21, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem. So, yeah, and it's all graveyards. So, that's a good one. That's one of our
Lord of
best ways to
our
win.
Extinction, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Another good one, Kessig Wolf one, is just a good pump tech on a land, but also provides tramples, so to get over any blockers. Shadow Spear, the life gain is relevant. People will want to try to take me out if I'm presenting a threat early on. So just being able to gain that life and also give Coram trample is really good. A couple good ones to have in the bin, Anger and Brawn. Those are really good options with like Buried Alive, for instance, just to grab and get those in the bin right away. That way I've got, as long as I have a mountain and a forest among my lands, I have haste and trample on all of my creatures.
Anger, Brawn, and...
I don't have the black
Multani.
one. I forget what the black... I think it's...
But even between those two and Yargle and Multani, you're setting yourself up for a really,
Yes,
really
real
scary
spicy.
game. That's interesting.
Yep.
I like that.
So, those two are there for that reason. And then finally, Gerard Golgari Lichlord. So, with all the high power things we're packing here, his activated ability can easily take my opponents out. If Corum's power is 30 or something stupid like that, rather than even swinging, I could just sack him to Gerard's ability and then, okay, everyone take 30.
Yeah, very similar. I'm seeing
So,
similarities.
another mimeoplasm
Yeah,
that you
you've
have
got
there.
red mimeoplasm here. I'm liking this. This is great.
So, and Gerard can be just high power on his own, in his own right, with creatures in bin. So, we're going to break away for a sec.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that this video is being released alongside Beef's deck tech, talking about Mr. House.
President and CEO.
Yes, the high rollers.
Lots of dice rolling. So if that trips your trigger and you want to check out the deck tech video, that's going to be released around the same time as this one. So.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the video description. Also want to give a shout out to our current members and Patreon subscribers. So Al is a YouTube member. And then we also have 3 Patreon subscribers in Crash, Hatvest, and Yevgeny. Thank you.
Jenny, I might be mispronouncing it. We'll find
Apologies
out.
if we are, but thank you all so much. It helps the channel out a ton to just keep us going.
It means a lot.
But
so, yeah.
yes, absolutely.
And not to mention, down the line, there's going to be a stream where we're going to be showcasing this Jund graveyard strat versus my Mr. House treasures and casino capitalism combo. So yes,
and 2 guests.
Stay tuned for that as well.
Moving on to ramp pieces. So I've got a ramp piece on a land called Crypt of Agadim. It enters tapped, but I can tap it just for a black, or I can pay 2 and tap it to add a black to my mana pool for each black creature card in my graveyard. So, I don't know, you want to maybe call it a pseudo Gaia's Cradle for creatures in bin, black creatures specifically, but they're...
Gaia's Graveyard, maybe, I don't know. From cradle to grave.
Cradle to the grave.
Gaia's Grave, I think, maybe the appropriate...
That's good. I like that.
it.
But yeah, there's a total of 14 black creatures that I have in this deck. So by the late game, there's a good chance I can be netting ahead with what I have to feed into this. So, Birds of Paradise, just a good mana door. A couple others too in Deathrite Shaman. That's got a lot of ways to get lands in our own bin, but also good to because I'm milling my opponents whenever Coram attacks. So there's a good chance that there's going to be lands there to exile for Rampage. Delighted Halfling, good way to protect Coram for casting purposes. Elves of Deep Shadow, I pay a green for them, but they tap for black and deal a damage to me. And Ignoble Hierarch is really relevant with the Exalted. Most times I'm just swinging with Coram by himself, so the +1 is really good, especially maybe I don't have creatures in bin yet, so even just chipping away for 1 is okay. And then we've got your usual suspects in Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. I've got some spells in Farseek, Nature's Lore, and 3 Visits to go grab like Triomes or those Surveil lands. And then finally, Songs of the Damned is a fun ritual.
Songs of the Damned for 1 black mana. It's an instant speed spell. It says add black for each creature card in your graveyard. So if you've been milling,
it's like a
baby, that's a big
dark ritual on crack. If you have enough,
super dark ritual, yes.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all the ramp stuff. Moving on to card advantage. I've got Faithless Looting, just a really good 1-drop to draw 2, discard 2, get those creatures out of my hand. Gamble I mentioned earlier, just a good tutor piece. Another really fun one I like is Tortured Existence.
Yes, it's an enchantment for 1 black. It's got an ability, pay a black, discard a creature card to return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's letting you put something that you don't want in your hand straight in the yard where you need it, and get something that you do want in your hand right back. That's a good fit.
Yes, Tortured Existence. In other words, late stage capitalism.
Yes.
But yes, just like Beef said, just a good way to get the things you don't need out and something back that's relevant. So, Grizzly Salvage is just a good 2-drop to look at the top 5 and then get either a creature or land into hand, and the rest goes in the bin. So there's upside there. Mausoleum Secrets is like a demonic tutor but extra steps. Ripples of Undeath we talked about already. Barrow-goyf is a good somewhat of a card advantage. Two generic and a black, Death Touch and Lifelink. His power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, I mill that many cards. If I do, I can put a creature card from among them into my hand. So that's the card advantage aspect. When I'm connecting, I'm milling, but then I get to choose one of those creatures, bring it to hand. And just the Death Touch and Lifelink combo is really good. He's like, even if I don't have any good swings, he's blocking for me. So he's a really good card. Garruk's Uprising, just a good way to give trample to Coram, but also whenever big things, I think it's 4 or greater for power enter, I'm drawing a card. So, and we've got Big Score, just a good, you discard a card and you draw 2 and make 2 treasures. So let's us discard a creature ideally. And a Body Launderer, another really good one that with the Connive, going to be helpful for filling the bin. And the bigger he gets, the more likely he can reanimate something juicy from the bin when he dies. And finally, Gerard's Orders is a really good, it's a 2 generic and Golgari, black and green. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards and reveal them. Put one into your hand and the other into your graveyard, and then shuffle.
Is that an instant or sorcery?
That's a sorcery. It's a sorcery speed.
Solid.
Yep.
Solid.
Very solid. Yep. But yeah, that is all the card advantage. Just getting those very relevant pieces to hand. Some targeted interaction. So we have land Besieger Who Endures, just a really good green land. Can't be countered because it's an ability. So it's just a good that's gone. So Grist Voracious Larva, and I guess on the backside Grist the Plague Swarm. We'll have Beef read that.
So Grist Voracious Larva for 1 green is a legendary creature insect with Death Touch. It's a 1/2. When Grist Voracious Larva or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from your graveyard or if you cast it from your graveyard, you may pay green. If you do, exile Grist, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control, and its transformed version is Grist the Plague Swarm. Grist the Plague Swarm is a legendary planeswalker Grist. It's got a +1 ability, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill 2 cards, put a Death Touch counter on the token if a black card was milled this way. It's great. It's got a -2 ability of destroy target artifact or enchantment. I should mention it comes out with 3 counters, so you can immediately use that removal. Or it's got a -6 ability that says for each creature card in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect. That's great. I also love that ultimate ability. A lot of times when you see something like that, it would say exile your graveyard, create the tokens.
Right, but no, it's
this
just
one just says
you're making
you
tokens.
just make tokens.
Yeah.
So if you've got some way to
tick her up again, or
reuse it, you can get that multiple times potentially, which is crazy. That's a cool one.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get the transformation right away because with Coram milling all the time, or even Hermit Druid or whatever, that's, you know, you just pay the 1 green and you have the Planeswalker right away. And then, yeah, the -2 is great, but then that +1 just, you know, keeps giving you chump blockers and
lots
stuff.
of value there.
Yep.
And when it dies, it goes back to the graveyard as a creature.
As a creature, so you could get it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Nature's Claim is just a really good 1-drop instant. You're going to let the opponent gain 4 life to destroy artifact or enchantment, but, you know, gaining the 4 with the Voltron stuff going on, that's not a big deal. Abrupt Decay is a really good. It's any permanent CMC 3 or less, and it can't be countered. Or maybe non-land. I think you're right, non-land permanent. Assassin's Trophy, on the other hand, is any permanent, but then the player, the owner of that permanent, can go tutor a land onto the battlefield.
Correct.
And then Rakdos Charm is really good to have in this deck because of the the token matchup, which can give Voltron a hard time sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you have too many creatures on board.
Mr. House is getting scared of a few things. It's some of this graveyard exiling and whatnot that I'm also a little concerned about. This should be an interesting matchup here.
Yep. Otherwise, Rakdos Charm can remove an artifact. Pretty good. Terra Sunder is a really flexible one where regularly it can exile target artifact or enchantment, but if you pay the kicker, it can do any non-land permanent. And then Untimely Malfunction is another really fun one for 1 generic and a red. It's an instant. You choose one. You can either destroy target artifact, change the target of target spell or ability with a single target, or 1 or 2 target creatures can't block this turn. All of which are relevant in this deck. That second one having that bit of protection, you know, kind of a deflecting SWAT effect, or you know, even the third one, like making it so 1 or 2 creatures can't block, could be the difference between, you know, taking the game or not.
They might be thinking that's the only thing that's their plan to deal with your commander. Is like, I'm just willing to sacrifice what I've got to block.
Yeah, maybe I don't have trample online and like I have the win, but they have a blocker. Yeah. Well, boom, there you go.
It's a good fit.
Beast Within, just really flexible removal piece. And then I do have the OG Grist, the Hunger Tide. Just another good one to get chump blockers out there. And the ultimate with that Grist is relevant too, because that depends on creatures in bin. And then I have Pyrogoyf, really fun.
Another Lurgoyf for the Lurgoyfing. It's for 3 and a red. Pyrogoyf has star power and 1+ star toughness. It says Pyrogoyf's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. When Pyrogoyf or another Lurgoyf enters the battlefield under your control, that creature deals damage equal to its power to any target. So the fact that it turns all of your Goyfs into
ETB birds or
grenades, basically. That's.
I mean, I like the idea of having this guy out, and then Mortarboar comes in, and then something's taken, you know, 10 damage, let's say, or you know, whatever.
It might just be remove target player.
It could be.
Game.
It could be.
Yeah.
So
that's fun.
Yeah, really good. Or you know, like the recursion aspect too. Like there's a Goyf in the graveyard, boom, it comes in and something's burned.
There it is. Yeah. So. Oh boy.
All right, so that's all just the targeted interaction. We do have a couple of mass disruption pieces. One of them being Living Death. So this is basically a board wipe, but it says each player exiles all creature cards from all of their graveyards, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards they exiled this way onto the battlefield. So it's kind of a switcheroo, you know. But for me, hopefully I'm coming out ahead here, because I'm going to have ideally more creatures in my graveyard than most of my opponents. So, but yeah.
Coram's going hard in the yard.
And then also Chandra's Ignition, another good one. Yep.
Sorcery for 3 red. It says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent.
Yes. So similarly with like the Gerard thing, if Coram's power is 20, well, bada boom.
That'll do, big. That'll do. Yeah.
Yes. So
that's win the game, Lizard. That's a good one. I need a copy of that.
It's so good. I threw it in my dinosaur deck too, just because of the enrage. Hitting my own things with the damage is so good. I wish I would have thought of it earlier for that deck. But anyway, so recursion. There's a lot. There's a good healthy sum of it here. Shifting Woodland is a land that I think if you have enough different card types in your graveyard, you can activate its ability to make it become a copy of any permanent in your graveyard. So it's a really good one. Nethergoyf is a fun one where it's got Escape. Otherwise, it's just a really early game 1-drop that can be put the pressure on my opponents. Reanimate, just a classic 1-drop, put something from graveyard onto the battlefield. Stitch Together, very similar. It's 2 black and it has Threshold. So as long as I have the Threshold, it's basically another Reanimate. Nyx Weaver is really fun. It's when it's in play, it's just gonna mill 2 each upkeep, so it's helping fill the bin. But then I can pay 3 to exile it and get a basically an Eternal Witness effect to return something to my hand. 6 is really good. It's a reacher, so I could a good way to help block some of those pesky flyers. But when it attacks, it's going to mill 3, and I can return a land milled this way to hand, and gives all of my permanents retrace in my bin. So
Which,
as long as
you might have noticed or will notice that in my Mr. House deck, there's a lot of retrace. So I'm jealous that I'm not the only one who's going to be retracing things. But,
well, this is one for me.
I'm in good company. Well, but you can do it to anything.
It's any permanent.
Yeah, so
any permanent. Yeah.
That's pretty broad. I like that.
6 is sick.
Yeah.
But another one is World Shaper, just because it's good way to have a means of recurring lands since I'm milling myself so much. So I wanted at least one way to get those back. But when World Shaper attacks, milling 3 as well. Hellkite Courser is a really good way. If Coram's been removed a lot of times, if I just haven't gotten those protection pieces, this is a good way to just get kind of a Hail Mary. Coram comes back and has haste to swing for a turn. And then it goes back to the command zone. But that notably does not count against the commander tax when it's brought out that way. Something to note. And then finally, in the recursion stuff is Colossal Grave Reaver, one of my favorites in this deck.
Big dog. All right. For 6 black-green, so 8 total, we've got a dragon, 7/6 dragon with flying. It says whenever this creature enters or attacks, mill 3 cards. And that fits pretty nicely. And then whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put one of them onto the battlefield.
Yes, this thing does work. Anytime any mill
Grabs
trigger.
the shovel and
Yeah.
stay down.
But all those different mill engines that I had brought up, or self-mill engines I brought up before, like as long as he's in play with those, like that's just any creature I hit
Big
is
payoff.
Yeah. So
Yikes.
fun stuff. Protection. So I do have a good deal of these just because that's kind of a natural thing you need with Voltron. You got to protect your Voltron commander. Lava Spur Boots is just a 1-drop equipment that's going to give Ward 1. I think it's also Equip 1. But yeah, Ward 1, +1/+0, and haste. And the +1/+0 is very relevant for a commander with 0 power. So, early game, if I don't have creatures in bin right away, that, 1 damage is not nothing. Brotherhood Regalia is another really good one, where when it's equipped, my commander, it's going to be an assassin in addition to its other types. That's not important, but it's going to have Ward 2 and can't be blocked. So the protection aspect, and then also getting through around any blockers. Swiftfoot Boots, just haste and hexproof, always good. Notably, I do not include Lightning Greaves in here. That one just, there are things I want to be able to target Coram with. So one of those being Malakir Rebirth. If there's a board wipe on stack, I can cast that, and if he dies this turn, he's gonna come back tapped, but still, he's online for the next turn, hopefully. Rhythm of the Wild is kind of stack protection, but also haste enabler, and can also give anything entering a counter with the riot. Those are the 2 options. And then finally, kind of a weird way to think about it, but it's somewhat of a protection piece. Sir Conrad the Grim. So I'll just read them out here. So 3 and 2 black, legendary human knight. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. Also has an activated ability to pay 1 and black to make each player mill a card. So why is that protection? Well, it's somewhat
I'm
protection.
just gonna bug you with your 30 creatures in your library.
Exactly. It's a deterrent from somebody trying to exile my graveyard. Because then it's like, well, okay, you sure you want to do that? Because you're gonna end up taking, however many creatures are in there for damage. So, yeah, that's why he's there. It's a really
Not
good
to
one.
mention the fact that it's going to put in work until that happens as well.
Yes, anytime I'm milling,
Yeah,
anytime the creature's
it's a good
dying, it's just he's so good. So,
very appropriate.
and he was been sitting
He's
in my
riding on a horse. I mean, he looks like he's going through a graveyard.
Pretty
he
much
just happened upon Coram.
Yep, and he's been sitting in my binder forever, and I was like, oh my god, that's like, and I was thinking, how can I protect my graveyard in this deck? Because you could do,
on the body too. So I mean, you're
Yes.
not even devoting a slot to something that's not a creature in a very creature-heavy deck. So.
Right, exactly. He's 5 power, so if he's in the bin, Quorum's 5 at minimum.
Sure.
But there's like, what's the green one where you can evoke it? Endurance, I think.
Yes.
Endurance is one way you can protect,
your life,
but then you're losing everything that was there.
Yeah.
So I really like this idea, just a more offensive means of protection.
That's
so.
great.
Mana base, so don't need to touch on this too much, but I've got the Triome, Zeotora's Proving Ground, Command Tower, Reflecting Pool, Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, can end up helping my opponents by making everything forests for lands, but, just a good way to give myself fixing too. Some fetch lands, because, we have Deathrite Shamans, so we want to get some lands in the bin for that. Shock lands, Battle Bond lands. Importantly, I have the 3 Surveil lands. So they enter tapped, but then I get to surveil one off the top of my library, and there's a lot of times where I will want that to go in the graveyard. So those are really good options to fetch. So some synergies and combos. So there's really no combos in this deck. Just a lot of ways that can really make Coram scary really quickly. So, but a lot of various synergies around the graveyard that I've touched on already. So, some notable exclusions, things I'm not including. I used to run Splinter Fright in this deck, but I've got a lot of other self-mill engines in here, and it's a big body on the board, but there's just better options, and I feel sad because he's been in my rare binder forever, and I had him in here, and then I kicked him out. So it's tough.
He'll find a home eventually.
I'm sure he will.
Approach.
I'm sure he will. Felden of the Third Path I had considered as a good option just because he benefits from creatures in graveyard as well. But having a hasty token of Lord of Extinction would be really good.
And if I remember correctly, he doesn't even exile from the graveyard.
Correct.
So
he just makes the token.
It's a good synergy piece, but it's doing kind of a different thing than what
it's if anything, he'd be kind of a backup commander, sort of, kind of, but. Or I guess if I let Coram go to bin, it wouldn't be commander damage, but he could reanimate or make a token of Coram. But yeah, that's why I didn't exclude him, because he doesn't quite fit what I'm trying to do. Lightning Greaves I mentioned before, I just have issues with it because I can't target my own creatures. Underrealm Lich, I really like that card, but just the design and the art, but I had a hard time just finding the right space for it in here. Another one I had included was Avatar of Slaughter, just kind of in the testing stages, but I figured that the Spectacular Showdown was a better inclusion for that. It's, similar idea.
You wanted to save that for your upcoming Avatar deck. I don't know if the Avatar was known for his slaughtering the Last Airbender.
Bringing balance to the world. No, slaughter. But yeah, so weaknesses and challenges. So yeah, I mean, aside from Sir Conrad as that pseudo graveyard protection, I don't run any other protection for the graveyard. So if somebody has your rest in pieces or your Bajuka Box, that's really gonna hurt for me.
Ready for a blowout, but also ready to blow you out.
Yeah, so sometimes I do got to be careful of some of those key ones, like Yargle, Multani, and Lord of Extinction. I don't usually want both of those in the graveyard at the same time. I'd rather have one and then the other floating in the library somewhere, or my hand,
Absolutely.
So it can be a little bit of a balancing act there. And then things that can nullify my commander can be tough, like Imprisoned in the Moon, Song of the Dryads, Oko, God. Oubliette, yeah, that's... So those can be a big setback, but that's just kind of the qualms of a Voltron deck. If your commander gets... put in check, then it makes it tough. So
that's the when you get down in the mud in graveyard.
In the trenches.
You got to be willing to get a little dirty. That's just how it goes. But,
Or the picket line in Coram's case.
that's exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's Breaking. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention the name earlier.
Breaking.
the deck name is Breaking de Coram because it's Coram and we're trying to break it. But anyway, that's that. So that's the deck techs. But yeah, thanks again for watching. And we'll be coming back with that the gameplay stream soon.
Yeah, tune in for a stream of some Coram versus Mr. House. Should be a knockdown, drag out graveyard fight. Maybe they found him in a graveyard with a bullet in his head, just like the opening of Fallout New Vegas.
They did bury a lot of people out in the desert, so and Coram's digging them.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. We completed the circle.
You know Fallout New Vegas, it starts off with your character being dug out of a grave, and then a doctor pulls a bullet out of your brain. So, yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
We found our thematic pod.
We squared that circle.
We just got to find 2 other commanders that make sense in this weird mix that we've got of graveyards and
man,
3-color decks or something. But anyway.
All right. Thanks.
Till next time. Thanks, folks.